Oh yeah, it says it's a bit tired and having any upgrades or anything, so it seems like it's okay. And I hope the mic balance. It looks like something that's a bit loud. Hopefully that should be a bit dead. I think I'm a bit louder than the audio now. Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah. Anyway, I have run out of... No, I haven't run out of Steam games to play, but I want to finish this. I realized I kind of left this half done, and like, what's the point of doing that? I want to actually try and finish this, so... It's weird though, the bitrate thing's not really moving, so I'm a bit worried about that. It normally goes like green or red or whatever, depending on what's going on. And, oh, also thank you, Happy Nilumbos. Thank you for the follow. It's so great to go back to not being stuck with a full screen. Actually being able to check like things like stream stuff and like basically just everything and the chat and not having to go and look at my phone on the chat. That was the problem. For some reason AI didn't have an option to do it in windowed mode. You could only do it like full screen, and I didn't have another screen. So anyway, either way, I guess I'm just gonna... What happened? I guess I'm just sort of just... Okay. So like, why was she talking? I'm just gonna... Crap, I should have checked where I was. Status page... where am I? Okay, so I'm at page 59. Okay. So why did Madurai show up? Hey Lily. I'm reading Danganronpa 0, or at least I think I am. I don't know. I might be. Right now I'm just trying to figure out, since it's actually been like 3 months since the last time I read, I did this, I'm trying to figure out what happened. So Junko's just kind of there, and I guess I don't really know, she doesn't really know why she's there. Kind of shows up, I guess. Zero is actually a prequel. It's actually like, it's canon. Like it's legit canon to Danganronpa story. Although it's not, it's mentioned in Danganronpa 2, and it's kind of like the lore is sort of first developed here, and then it gets used into. But it's not. I'm just like, you know, if you're gonna play Danganronpa when it comes out on Switch, then I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this because you know, I don't want you to get spoiled, but it's not too bad actually. Like it's not really like very specific spoilers. And hey Robin, I don't worry, I already checked where I was. We're on page 59. I'm just trying to figure out why. So she was talking to Jun, you know, she saw a dead body, then Junko shows up, and Junko just basically acts like full-on Junko, and then Madurai is here. Madurai wanted to talk to Junko, and right, so he's like, I have business with Junko and Ashima, essentially. What do you mean? Of course. What do you mean? Do I have the link handy? I just went to my last VOD and checked where I ended it off. Right. And then yeah, so basically Madurai was like, I need to talk to Junko and Ashima, and you as well, Ryoko, because if you're involved with Junko and Ashima, maybe you're involved. Oh, I mean, literally just type in Danganronpa 0 PDF, and I guess in a way I can just do it like this. Chat. You can do that. That's how you can read along. And so he's like, I need to talk to Junko and you. And Junko's just like, oh, well. Oh, it's cool. I'm supposed to just come in to say hi. I have to go to bed soon. I'm going to Pride in the morning. Oh, wow, fun. Like, is it like, no. as in like, is it like Mardi Gras or is it like another like a special Pride thing? I feel like if it was Mardi Gras weekend, I would have heard about it. So, or is it just anyway? Have fun there. That sounds great. Right, and then Junko and Marurai had a DBZ battle, and it was great. I'm the ultimate weapon fashion girl who hasn't lost in over 300 fights. Oh, that's great. Hello, hi Timsomniac. This is Danganronpa 0. It's a prequel to Danganronpa, and essentially 2. Okay, it's a big LGBT event, music, public speakers. I'm looking forward to it. It's my first Pride event. Oh yeah, have fun, Lily. Have fun. That sounds great. Yeah, so this is Danganronpa 0. It never got officially released in English. So all we have is there's somebody who did a translation of it and put it on Google Drive and basically just said, hey guys, everyone, you can have it. I think my stream's fine. Is my stream fine? No, my stream seems fine, so it's probably on your end. And I read it like ages ago, this book, or at least this translation of it. But I kind of skimmed through it all because I didn't know what I was looking for, essentially. I was just sort of looking for the bits that tie into the first game, and I didn't like sort of appreciate it for its own story, and now I appreciate it more, so yeah. Anyway, so basically, yeah, so Junko basically says to Ryoko, oh, don't worry about it, just look at your notebook and stuff, because you're actually really dangerous if you look at what your talent is. And then she kind of disappears, leaving Ryoko to deal with this Madurai guy alone. And then she just kind of suddenly just thinks of Yasuke in like the flashes of before she thinks that she's gonna die, and then she's like, I don't know. It's like the power of simping for Yasuke apparently just sort of made her figure out that she doesn't want to die, and figures out, reads the thing of the talent, and then she's just sort of like, yeah. Then she just runs away. That's right, this is my talent, my one and only way to come out of this situation winning. I don't remember it though, so it still doesn't feel quite real. After a very short while, I hear running footsteps chasing me. I decided to put my prediction to the test. What is the man chasing me thinking right now? I'm pretty sure he's thinking something like, now that's a truly strange woman. Now that's a truly strange woman, Ishiki Madurai whispered to himself while running. It wasn't that he wasn't careful, quite the opposite. That was exactly why he was outsmarted. He couldn't have guessed from her actions that she would run away like this. But in hindsight, he realized that what she did was only natural. A cornered mouse will bite the cat, or so the proverb goes. But in reality, it's very rare to find a mouse who would bite a cat. Even when they're seriously injured, can hardly move, and completely cornered, a mouse's first thought is to still try and escape. That's just a mouse's true nature. And that girl who turned heel and escaped is just the same. In other words, it's in her nature to run away. In that case, all I have to do is catch her, and this will be over in no time. His mouth twisted in a cruel smile. His face was that of a hunter chasing his prey. But his true goal wasn't simple, relentless predatism? And that cruel smile was perhaps a little excessive. I'll catch her, and after giving her a good beating, I'll make her tell me everything about that incident. The worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history. Madurai hated that incident, and everyone involved in it. Right now, getting revenge for the incident was the only thing driving him. It gave him motivation. He got his chance a few hours ago, when he received a suspicious anonymous message. Okay, so this is why he's showing up here. Junko Enoshima, who knows the secrets behind the incident, is going to show up in the Central Plaza. The possibility of it being a trap had crossed his mind, but he didn't care. Even if it had been a trap, it would have been an opportunity to see who set it up. I'm going to get my revenge. I must get my revenge. I still have someone who needs protection. I don't know, I mean, like, all I can say is, I can't... Like, the bitrate looks stable on my end, and I don't have any dropped frames on my OBS, so it's probably your internet. Probably. There was a flame burning inside his eyes. The moment he caught sight of his prey running ahead of him, he increased his own speed dramatically. His long hair flew behind him as he closed the distance between them in an instant. In no time at all, he'll be able to reach out his arms and catch her. It's over. He pushed his left foot strongly into the ground and reached out with his long right arm. He could feel his fingers touching his prey's hair when something happened. The prey suddenly changed direction with a sharp turn, almost as if she was slipping through Madurai's hands. Taken by surprise, he lost his balance. She had time to move perfectly, almost as if she planned it all ahead. Madurai clicked his red tongue loudly and was soon back on his feet. He turned around back towards his prey and started running again, but he quickly noticed something strange. His prey, running ahead of him, was doing something ridiculous. What the? The prey was writing something in a notebook as she was running. Huh? Writing while running? That's clearly impossible, however you look at it. He was bewildered. It wasn't just that he couldn't understand why she was doing it. He did not expect his prey to do anything other than simply try to escape. Isn't she just a mouse running away from danger? Could she have a plan beyond escaping? But it could also be a bluff. Just like when she first ran away, she might just be taking advantage of his vigilance in order to obtain a chance to escape again. Well, whatever it was, Madurai didn't have time for hesitation. His desire for revenge for the worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history was too intense for him to give up now. He recklessly increased in speed and was soon within reach of his prey once again. This time it's really over. He reached his right hand towards his prey's blind spot and grabbed her. No, all he grabbed was empty air. Once again, the timing that seemed precisely calculated, his prey suddenly changed course. Madurai, still pulled forward by leftover energy, saw a huge tree emerging from the darkness in front of him. He thrust his arms forward in panic, and the palms of his hands soon met with the roughness of the tree's bark. What the hell is going on? Madurai kicked to the ground in anger and was soon back at full speed. His prey was quickly within reach again. As he reached his arms to strike her, she managed to slip away and escape again. I can't catch her? How's my video going? Well, yeah, I've still got 15 minutes. Even as realization slowly dawned on Madurai, he couldn't explain it. She wasn't even turning her head to look at him. Her eyes were constantly on her notebook. How was she able to avoid his arms coming at her from behind, at her back? She wasn't even avoiding it clumsily. She did it with perfect timing. It's almost as if she could see what was going on behind her back. No, that can't be right. The timing was too perfect for it to be something as simple as that. It's like she knows what's going to happen in advance. You've got to be kidding. Madurai shook the thought off his head and accelerated to full speed again. Soon he was at his prey's defenseless back, reaching down out once again. The moment he was about to touch her, just as he expected, the prey dodged his hand and escaped. This time, however, Madurai anticipated it and turned his body sideways to match her movement. He extended both of his long arms and jumped towards the prey. It was a spectacular tackle. He had her! Or so he thought. What? It was as if she knew he was going to anticipate her dodge. She crouched again with perfect timing and passed by Madurai's feet like a turtle, causing him to clumsily twist his body forward and crash violently onto the ground. Madurai lay on the floor for a short while, unable to move. He wasn't in pain, but a different kind of damage had been inflicted upon him. What the hell? At long last, he got back on his feet. He shook his long hair from his eyes in search for his prey. He could see her figure running away, already small in the distance. As he watched his escaping prey, Madurai whispered to himself in an amazed tone. I'm begging you, please don't tell me she has precognition. Precognition? That's probably what he's thinking right now, but no such thing exists, of course. No, it probably exists somewhere in this world. At least, I like to think dreams sometimes mean something, but there's no way such a hackneyed power would awaken inside me during a dangerous situation. This isn't a comic book after all. Or it's not even a manga, it's a light novel. No, this isn't something as outrageous as precognition. These are just predictions. I've been analyzing the things he seemed to think, and the actions he took, and predicting the actions he was likely to take next. That's what my notebook taught me my talent is. Super analytical proficiency. I've been using my talent, and predicting his next moves by analyzing his behavior patterns statistically. That's all. That said, that kind of analysis requires a vast amount of data. Without data, I can't predict anything at all. That's exactly what Ryoko Otonashi's memory notebook is for. I've been extracting behavior patterns from his speech and action, and have been exhaustively writing them down as usable data in my notebook. The battle between Madurai and Enoshima-san was a particularly important source of data. She attacked Madurai using a variety of techniques and possibly even let herself get hit on purpose. Now that I think about it, she was probably trying to show me as many of his attack patterns as she could. I have no idea why someone like Enoshima-san would do something like that for me, but there's no doubt that's exactly why I'm able to predict his current behavior so perfectly. Nevertheless, I can't possibly predict everything about him based on just a few minutes worth of data. It's just that my current goal is simply to predict how he was going to behave in a chase situation. And for that I have more than enough. That's how I knew the timing, angles, and technique he was going to try to use to catch me. But my current prediction is that he isn't going to give up just yet. Right now, he's still perplexed at the skill I have displayed. If my prediction is correct, he's going to realize very soon that the source of my newfound power lies in my notebook. It's likely he's going to chase me much more seriously from now on. If that's the case, there's a limit to how much I could keep running away randomly. So, what should I do? I predict that the answer will probably come to me soon. I've been running for a while, relying on the crude map of the central plaza that's stored in my notebook. Soon I passed the area overgrown with trees and came to a clearing. Just as I predicted, there was a small building there. That was my destination. The moment I saw it, fear and bravery began to intermingle inside my head. But I have no choice. I have to forget any fear and anxiety. I have no choice. I have no choice if I want to meet Matsuda-kun. I have to do it. I'm sure I can do it. By the way, that wasn't a prediction just now. It was just enthusiasm. When I reach a conclusion, there was some kind of secret hiding in that notebook. Yes, that must be it. There's no such thing as precognition. She's been insistently writing that notebook of hers, despite the fact terrible things are going to happen to her if she's caught. Which means her secret must be there. Madurai could not imagine what that secret was, but he was certain there was one. Which means, if I snatch it away, everything's going to be fine. Madurai hadn't always been prone to complicated thoughts. He had often been told that contrary to his looks, he was a cautious man, but that wasn't a trait he was born with. It was simply necessary for the job he had until recently. But now that job was meaningless. It was my fault. It was because I couldn't protect them. The only job that mattered now was finding the culprit responsible for the worst, largest incident in Hope Peak Academy's history, and getting revenge. I can't afford to stand still. Not now. Madurai started running again and thought about what he had to do next in simple terms. Catch my prey, hurt her, make her talk. Now thoroughly serious, Madurai ran with all the power in the direction his prey fled. He may have lost some time, but it was not yet a fatal loss. Even if she managed to escape, all he had to do was keep chasing her. As long as he didn't give up, it wouldn't be over. Catch, hurt, talk. He repeated those 3 words to himself, slipping through the dark trees like a black snake. He was paying careful attention to his surroundings as he ran, and suddenly, his field of vision expanded. He arrived at a small clearing that looked like a plaza. He surveyed the area and soon noticed a small prefab sheet on the other side of the clearing. Light from a street lamp next to the shed thickened continuously, creating an ominous atmosphere right out of a horror movie. Suspicious. Very suspicious. But even so, It would be faster to investigate than to wonder what's going on. How's my thing? I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's like, sure. Madurai reduced his speed and stepped carefully towards the shed. Its cream-colored walls and roof would normally seem pleasant, calming even, but under the flickering light they just seemed eerie. Madurai stood in front of the shed and started by peeking through the window in one of the walls. The room in front of his eyes was dusty, matching the flickering light coming from above. It must be used for storage by a custodian of the central plaza. There were shelves packed with fertilizer bags and paint cans, as well as cleaning tools crammed all over the place. He couldn't see anyone inside, but there were a lot of places someone could hide. Madurai turned away from the window and headed to the shed's entrance. The door was wooden and light. He first touched it with just his fingertips. Once he confirmed it wasn't booby-trapped, he turned the handle. It didn't open. Someone must have blocked it. Madurai crouched and observed the grass growing around the shed. Patches of the ankle-high weeds were bent to their tips. Someone had stepped on them recently. Oh, that settles it. However, this certainty did not come at all as a relief. Quite the opposite. The cautiousness Madurai had briefly forgotten returned in full force. So, what kind of trap had she prepared for me? Madurai took a couple of deep breaths. Then, right after he left the deepest one out, he turned to the door and kicked at it with all his strength. Wham! The door opened just a little bit, making a dull noise. Wham! Wham! After a few more kicks, the gap in the door was wide enough for a single person to pass through. Beyond that gap, there was only darkness. Madurai lowered his posture and stepped into it carefully. Excuse me, coming in. The sound of feet on sand drifted through the silence. The room was larger than it seemed on the outside, and the only illumination came from the flickering light outside the window, which had little effect in the gloomy dimness covering everything. Spiderwebs spread in every corner of the shed. Opposite the window was a large stack of shelves filled with paint cans. Gravel and dust balls were scattered all over the floor, with cleaning and maintenance tools cluttered here and there. In addition, several large heaps of fertilizer sacks were stacked all around the room. Hey, I know you're hiding here somewhere. Madurai's voice echoed through the small room, and suddenly his eyes was drawn to a certain spot. Behind one of the sack heaps, he thought he saw something moving. A small shivering movement, almost as if in response to Madurai's voice. There she is. Madurai advanced slowly towards the pile with increased cautiousness. There had to be a trap here somewhere. Many of the tools in the shed could be used as a weapon in the hands of scared prey. Madurai could see her in his mind, hiding in the darkness, clutching one of them in her trembling hands. What are you planning? Raising his voice and staying alert, he moved even closer to the pile of sacks. By the time he reached the middle of the room, his eyes were completely adjusted to the darkness. Well, if you plan to attack me, go right ahead, he said in a cool, flat voice. But I'm warning you, you will regret it later. You're going to be in a world of hurt. It was only for a second, but he had no clue what was going on. He felt something exploding on his face, and a moment later, everything around him turned white. Moaning, he half opened his eyes. His surroundings were engulfed in a white fog. Take that! The prey, standing right in front of his eyes, threw some kind of white lump at him from behind the pile of sacks. As soon as the lump hit Madurai's body, it seemed to burst open and scatter in the air. As soon as the prey finished throwing, she thrust her hand into one of the sacks in front of her, grabbed a large amount of powder from it, and earnestly threw a third lump at him. Take that and that! Madurai didn't flinch, but he was astounded. This was attack in name only. Childish quarrel. It was like a snowball fight using powder instead of snow. Stupid. Madurai's face twisted in anger. He got excessively upset as the thought he was being cautious of what turned out to be nothing but a waste of time. Whatever. Let's just end this. The flickering light reflected into Madurai's eyes when... Do you know what a dust explosion is? The girl raised her voice at the exact moment Madurai was about to move. His momentum was cut off. He stopped instinctively. What do you think would happen if I start a fire right now? Hey, it's just like that scene in AI. Throwing flour at people. And then you're like, dust explosions. What are you? Right now, the room was completely covered with flying white powder. A sudden disturbing image crossed Madarai's mind. He could imagine the fire spreading from one dust particle to the next, igniting them and blowing up the entire shed. If you do that, it's over for you too. I thought it's over for me no matter what I do. Upon hearing those words, Madarai remembered his own words. It's impossible to predict what someone in despair will do. Madarai concentrated his eyes on the white fog. He could see the girl's silhouette beyond the dust, but he couldn't tell what expression was on her face. He brushed some of the dust from in front of his eyes and could finally see her face. It was completely blank. Furthermore, her entire body had a strange, intimidating air about it. Who the hell are you? It wasn't the face of a frightened prey. Colorless eyes didn't even twinkle. They were just staring directly at him, unflinching. Madarai's spine shivered. I don't think you can do it. There's nothing here you can use to start a fire. The girl stayed silent. The air around Madarai became heavy as a feeling of tension wrapped itself firmly around his body. The dark emotions slowly corroded deep inside his mind. Who the hell is that girl? Madarai thought he could see his own shivering self reflected in her colorless eyes. Should I run away? Try to attack first? The two options flooded in rapid succession inside his head, and suddenly, for just a split second, his victim's eyes moved. Madarai turned by reflex to the point she was looking at, and saw an industrial vacuum cleaner in the middle of the clutter on the floor. Right next to it was a bare electrical outlet. Vacuum cleaner, electrical outlet, sparks! The thought connected inside his brain like an association game. Before he knew it, Madarai started to move. He had no time to hesitate, no margin for caution. He had to get out there. He had to get there faster than she could. Madarai took off, almost as if leaping to the vacuum cleaner. He stretched his long arms toward it and grabbed the hose, then pulled it strongly towards him, as if he was about to wield it. That was when he felt something was not quite right. There was some resistance when he pulled. Too much resistance. That wasn't all. The girl herself didn't move a single step. He could see her standing still from the corner of his eyes, even now that he had the vacuum cleaner in his hand. He even thought he saw her eyes glittering in anticipation. Oh shit! The sense that something wasn't right transformed into a single word in Madarai's mind. Trap. But it was too late. A large shadow covered Madarai's vision. It was the shadow of the large stack of shelves, inclining slowly towards him. Cans of paint clattered in slow motion as they fell down from the shelves on their way towards him. The shadow drew closer. It was already right in front of his eyes. And then, with a thunderous roar and a cloud of dust, Ishiki Madarai was flattened by the falling shelves. The dust in the room was... The dust in the room was thrown up in the air along with a roaring, ground-rumbling noise. The colorful cans of paint that were lined on the shelves splattered their contents all over the walls and the ceiling, making the inside of the shelf look like it was lifted straight out of Wonderland. I inhaled some of the dust and managed to cough violently while giving a sigh of relief. I had predicted that Madarai's vigilant nature wouldn't let him leave the vacuum cleaner alone right after hearing about a dust explosion. It seems I was right. I threw the shed's window open, grabbed a shovel, and stepped carefully toward the fallen shelves in order to check out the condition of the crushed boy. I had to feign bravery while I was confronting him, but my feet were still shaking with nervousness. Oh wait, now it's over. What's the beautiful morning? How's this one? Wait. Okay, is this the same? I guess it's not. It's very similar to the Beautiful Dead. The hand holding the shovel was already dripping with sweat. Hello? I peeked nervously through the gap in the shelves and saw Madarai pressed between them and the floor, as if he was the filling of a strange sandwich. It seemed he was still conscious though, because he managed to look at me weakly. I can't believe I fell for that. It seemed talking was painful for him, perhaps because his chest was under such heavy pressure. But why wasn't there an explosion? There must have been static electricity and sparks from such a huge impact. This is cement powder, so it won't explode. I answered, still brandishing the shovel. Cement powder. I adjusted my hold on the shovel and opened the notebook with my free hand. Let's see. Necessary conditions for a dust explosion are flammable dust, oxygen, and a source of fire. But cement powder isn't oxidized, so it doesn't burn. In other words, it is inflammable dust, so it can't cause a dust explosion. That seems to be the explanation. And you all that. It seems the old man in charge of the shed really loves to talk. He sometimes catches random people and makes them listen to him ramble on. By the way, don't you think it's kind of shady that he told all that to a random high school girl? But I guess it ended up saving my life, so I should go thank him once this is over. I flipped through my notebook once more and continued. Anyway, it seems this old man is really into DIY projects and loves to build anything that isn't too complicated on his own. It looks like that's why he bought a large amount of cement powder and stored it here in this shed. And you used that as a decoy? Yes, I wanted you to pull that vacuum cleaner. I dropped my eyes to the notebook again and nodded vigorously. By the way, have you ever heard of a movie called Home Alone? I used one of the traps from it as a basis for this one. I tied the vacuum cleaner and the shelves together with a rope so that when you pull the vacuum cleaner, the shelves come down after it. Oh, that's right, the dust's secondary purpose was to keep the rope hidden. I used the white rope, you see. You can stop now. Madurai interrupted me with a weak voice. So, with this trap and ace up your sleeves? No, I have a different one. After all, in Home Alone, it wasn't Culkin-kun who ultimately stopped the robbers. It was the adults who came to save him. It was in that way in both the first and the second movies. So you see, the ace up my sleeve would be when somebody comes to save me and yes, I get it. Please, stop. Oh man, you know, when you're like, what you're expecting from Danganronpa Zero, a long discussion of the Home Alone movies is probably not it, but that's what we're getting. Madurai twisted his face as if he was getting bored. But don't you think it's still early for you to think you've won? Huh? A strange expression caught my attention, and I couldn't help returning the question. What do you mean? I mean, I haven't even shown you the ace up my sleeve yet. Leaving those words, Madurai finally sank into silence. He didn't reply even when I prodded him. It seems he had lost his consciousness. I had the feeling something was left half-baked, but since my notebook also taught me there's a chance I might catch pneumoconiosis if I inhale too much dust, I decided to first get out of the shed. Well, I guess the school security department can take care of things later. I'll leave it to him to apprehend that strange boy. Once they do, it's all going to be over. He committed the serious crime of assaulting a woman, so I think they're going to expel him from the school. And that means I'll never see him again. Big you. Yeah! The person who now groaned like a small animal being stepped on was me. I felt a sharp pain in my throat. Something rugged was tightened around it, making it impossible to breathe. What? What's going on? Even deep in confusion, I could tell there was a black telephone pole in front of my eyes. Wait, why a telephone pole? I looked up, my thoughts becoming even more confused, and saw a white face on top of the tall and narrow telephone pole. It appeared to be a man's face. Furthermore, it was a face I recognized. There are things even someone as forgetful as me can recognize. I mean, that face was the face of a man who was supposed to be unconscious under a stack of shelves. It was Madurai's face. You seem surprised. He wasn't injured. Even his clothes were perfectly clean. I think I know what you're thinking. Why is the man I just took down inside the shed now standing here strangling me? Am I right? The cruel smile tore down through Madurai's face. To make things short, this is the ace up my sleeve. Well, a part of it anyway. His eyes, narrow to their limit, were fixed on me. They were oily and glittering. Well then, I think I'll begin by breaking your arms and legs. It's going to hurt for just a little while, so please endure it patiently. Maybe I should wait until you lose consciousness. It's going to be a bother if you start screaming. His tone of voice was more composed than cruel. It was clear it wouldn't be any use at all begging for my life. I applied even more strength into the hand that was strangling me, and I felt my consciousness slowly slipping away. I felt emptiness, as if my very own self was fading away as each and every sensation was eradicated from my body. I couldn't say anything anymore. I couldn't breathe anymore. I couldn't make any predictions anymore. My notebook dropped from my hand. My eyes became hazy, my vision blurred. In front of my eyes, both the scenery and Madurai himself became twisted. That's right, twisted. Madurai's body twisted and flipped upside down as if he was drawing an arc in the air. Then, with a loud, thick sound, it crashed onto the ground head first. That's what I saw. From within my vanishing consciousness, which flickered in and out like a candle, I couldn't tell if it was reality or a dream. Nevertheless, I saw it. Grunting like a trampled frog, Madurai quickly regained his posture. Then the moment he jumped back up, his eyes were drawn to his right arm, and he stared at it transfixed. His right arm, from the elbow down, was unnaturally twisted, bent like licorice candy. At first, he just stared at it with a confused expression on his face. Then, as though he suddenly remembered how to, he raised his voice in a terrible scream. Yah! His voice was a mixture of confusion, terror, and pain. It came out with such force it almost seemed like he squeezed every bit of air out of his body. I heard that dreadful scream, but all I could do was stand there dumbfounded. No, I didn't even know if I was still standing up or if I fell to the ground. I couldn't understand anything that was going on. And then I heard a voice I also could not understand. I may have overdone it just a little bit. I'm not sure if I can call it a voice. A noise may be a more appropriate description. Well, it's not like I had any choice. It would be a pain for me if you died here. After all, you're the protagonist of this story. At least for now. That's when I noticed it. I wondered how I could have missed it until now. There was a pitch-black silhouette standing right before me. And on top of that black silhouette floated a face I remember seeing somewhere before. But I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember whose face it was. You don't remember who I am, do you, you bastard? I guess that's just natural. But don't worry, I'm sure you'll come to remember soon enough. After saying that in a laughing voice, the voice coming out of the shadow turned lower. But first, there's still something that requires taking care of here. What happened next? Started before I knew what was going on, and ended in a split second. First, there was a hand on top of Madurai's head. He was still on the ground, screaming. The hand started stroking his head gently. Madurai looked up with a surprised expression on his face when suddenly there was a snapping noise, and his head, fixed with the same expression, began to spin. Finally, it stopped at an inexplicable angle. Madurai collapsed on the ground before he knew what was happening, and he spitted red foam at my feet, his body convulsing in short spasms. This is just a dream. That was the conclusion my mind reached then and there, and I could feel my body strangely relaxed. Yes, it couldn't be anything else. The scene is so far removed from reality, it couldn't possibly be anything but a dream. Except that laughing voice echoing deep inside my dream ears. Even that laughing voice echoing deep inside my ears. Just a dream. Before I knew what was happening, the black shadow was once again standing right in front of me. But this is also definitely a dream. The face floating in front of the shadow, on top of the shadow, who I was sure I'd seen before, started talking again. Until you can remember better, you should call me Super High School Level Despair. Yes, I think that fits. The eyes on that face were excessively dark. In fact, they looked more like holes than eyes. I stared at them blankly and felt as if my consciousness was being sucked up into their void. Inside the holes were a bottomless swamp full of black mud. My entire body was quickly drenched in it as I was slowly consumed by something that wasn't myself. Then I heard a voice from somewhere far away. See you soon, you bastard! When we meet again, I'll kill you properly. It was a small voice coming from far away. At the same time, it felt like it was also whispering directly inside my ears. This sure is a strange dream. With that last thought, I finally became totally submerged inside the bottomless swamp. My consciousness was completely lost. Oh shit! It's a Monokuma symbol. Does that mean it's? Because I assumed that was Junko just there who saved Ryoko, but it makes it sound like it's actually Monokuma somehow. But I don't know. The girl tilted her neck. Junko and Ashima tilted her neck grandiosely. It's great I came back and all, but what's going on here? She swayed up from her crouching posture. There was something right in front of her eyes. It was a dead body. Oh, maybe it's not Junko? Maybe I'm confused. I guess, whatever. I guess I'll see. There was something right in front of her eyes. It was a dead body. A man, his neck and arms twisted in a strange way. Let's see. This guy is... She raised her hand to her chin and closed her eyes tightly, posing like a great detective on the verge of a huge deduction. After a short period of indecision, Junko Enoshima suddenly raised her voice in a cheer. Oh, I remember! That's right, his name was Madurai. By the way, that's silly of me, forgetting who someone I just killed myself is. Okay, it was Junko. I hope that forgetfulness of hers isn't contagious. Just kidding. Enoshima's laughter echoed through the night sky and seemed to pile up on top of itself, as if there were more than one of her laughing in simultaneous chorus. But the next moment, her laughter stopped. Her face turned sullen, as if she'd suddenly got tired of laughing. There's also the issue of that other missing body. Honestly, where did that old geezer go? Suddenly she was laughing again. There was a wide smile on her face, as if she was suddenly tired of sullenness. Well, it's not like it matters where she disappeared to. Boop, 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 boop. I am so despair-inducingly great at planning plans. But the second her discalculation was done, her face was sullen yet again. But it's so unsatisfying when your plans always succeed. Whose fault is this? Is anyone going to take responsibility? Her expression changed with every sentence that came out of her mouth, but none of it was an act. Every time it reflected her true feelings. Despair-inducing capriciousness. That's what she was all about. Super high school level despair. Junko Enoshima. With the sullen expression still on her face, Enoshima trotted towards Madurai's dead body. It's your fault, you know. Take that! She started thrusting her tiptoes into the body. Hey, say something! What's up with being so easy to kill? You should have at least made an effort to disrupt my plans. How can I possibly despair like that? At that point, she suddenly changed her voice. It hurts! I'm sorry! She mimicked the dead Madurai's voice, as if she was on a morbid ventriloquism show. Enoshima-sama, please forgive me! She continued kicking the body as she spoke with a comical, over-dramatic tone. Dark red liquid came flowing out of the body's mouth. I'll repent by committing suicide, so please forgive me! Enoshima returned to her normal voice. But you can't do that! You're already dead! Having delivered her grand punchline, she stepped hard on Madurai's face. Splat. The thick sound of something being crashed echoed throughout the air. Enoshima laughed a loud, vulgar laugh, as if her one-woman show was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. Nevertheless, she soon got tired of that too, and her face returned to its original expression. Well then, I guess I have to call that pitiful sister of mine and ask her to clean things up over here. First, I'll have her take care of the dead, dirty body. Then she'll have to clean up inside that shed too. And finally, I just have to carry Ryoko Otonashi-chan to her beloved boyfriend, and my work here will be done. Having confirmed her immediate plans to herself, Enoshima began laughing again as if she'd remembered something funny. She laughed vulgarly and grandiosely, facing the sky, both her arms spread to her sides. Her cruel, gruesome laughter echoed high in the night sky. There was no coherence to it, nor any necessity or sentiment. That is what super high school level despair Junko Enoshima was all about. Alright, yep. Chapter 12! When I finally opened my eyes, there was a ceiling above me. It seemed I fell asleep somewhere, but since being forgetful, I always forget the circumstance of the way I've fallen asleep in, I wasn't especially confused. I calmly turned my eyes from the ceiling and saw a window. A clear beam of sunlight came in through a gap in the curtains, illuminating the white room I was in. It seems it was morning. This room. It was a room I couldn't remember, but that's the same as always too. Anyway, my first order of business should be to calmly confirm the situation in Ryoko Otonashi's memory notebook. So I calmly tried to rise out of bed, and then I realized I couldn't. What's going on? My body was firmly tied to the bed with a sturdy-looking rope. It was a magnificent knot I could only describe as craftsman-like, and it bound me so tightly I could hardly move my body at all. I couldn't even turn my neck well, which made looking around the room impossible. At this point, I finally started to feel panic at this incoherent state of affairs. In other words, I went from what's going on to what's going on? What's going on? But no matter how much I struggled, all I could do was shake and rattle the bed. Not only did the diligently tied rope show no signs of becoming looser, it seemed to actually be getting tighter. Someone! I started screaming, carried away from fear. Help me! Once I started, I couldn't stop. Please! I screamed and screamed and screamed. Someone help me! Then, after my earnest calls for help had been going on for a long and short while, they were being too loud, dung beetle. The words were abusive, but my heart started beating even faster than it already was. Yeah, Matsuda-kun? If you want to scream, do it more quietly, you dullard. It is you, Matsuda-kun! From the moment I knew for certain the mocking voice belonged to my beloved Matsuda-kun, my only desire was to rush and search for him. But since my head was tied tightly to the bed, I couldn't even look around. Where are you, Matsuda-kun? I called frantically. Where? I'm right in front of you, isn't that obvious? Huh? Under me? I'm under the bed you're lying... Oh, right, I'm right under you. I'm under the bed you're lying on, you cheap woman. Hello from work. Hi, sorry, Hikaru. I'm reading some more Danganronpa Zero right now, so... Yeah, I've got a switch. Even disregarding his cheap woman comment, what he said was most unexpected. Huh? Why are you under the bed? I'm doing mental concentration exercises to subdue my anger. Being in the midst of a bondage situation, I couldn't confirm it with my own eyes, but his voice certainly seemed to come from the other side of the bed. It seemed that he was, in fact, under it. Are mental exercises usually done under beds? To me, they are. It seems Matsuda-kun is a man of many colors. I was playing Mario Sunshine, and I was like, I want to see you do a playthrough. Theoretically, if, I don't know, I'm not good enough at games to do proper game, let's plays, whatevers. But, it's always been to the thought of my mind. I'm like, oh, maybe I should do some more, like, video games, content-y stuff. But, well, I don't have a concrete idea. Hey, Matsuda-kun, if something is troubling you, you can always come to me. I'll listen to your troubles anytime. Well, see, it's not that I don't like other games that aren't visual novels. It's just visual novels are good to play because you can't really get it wrong and you're not really being tested and you can take breaks and stuff. It's a lot harder to do that if you're playing like a platformer. I think I'll take you up on that offer then. Matsuda-kun breathed deeply once, then suddenly started talking his mouth off. On the dawn of a sleepless night, I was informed that an ugly friend of mine went missing, so I had no choice but to go searching for her all over the place. When I came back to the lab, I suddenly discovered her ugly, dirty body lying on top of my bed, sleeping like a log and snoring for boot. Care to tell me how to best handle the anger that had engulfed me then? That sounds like a truly ugly friend you have. It's you. Oh. I can't put my phone in sleep mode because it'll just pause the stream on my YouTube. See you later. Oh, okay, fair enough. See ya. So I've gone missing? Someone who can't even remember themselves going missing shouldn't be allowed to act freely. I guess tying you up was a good decision. That means the person who tied me up was Matsuda-kun. How surprising! I couldn't imagine he could tie such a masterful knot. This is even a little stimulating. Too much information, Ryoko. Anyway, I'm gonna keep you tied up for a while so you can reflect on what you did. How long would you estimate a while is? Let's see, until the next World Cup would be. That's too long! I guess you have a point. Well then, we'll make it most of today. Even that's a little excessive. One shouldn't tie their lover to a bed for an entire day. Who are you calling your lover? I'm not the type of weirdo that would have vermin as a girlfriend. Vermin? I couldn't find anything to say in response to his excessive nastiness. In any case, it appears he was really angry, and not just faking it. The fact that he now stayed quiet proved it. On top of the bed, I was silent. I also have no idea what you're talking about, Robin. Under the bed, Matsuda-kun was silent. That awkward silence continued for a while. After some time passed, Matsuda-kun sighed and said, Honestly, you've always been that way. Huh? What are you talking about? I just remembered something like this happened before. You've always known the perfect ways to irritate me. I'm not sure if I want to hear about it or not, but I guess I want to after all. So what happened before? Matsuda-kun started telling the story slowly as he struggled to turn the memories in his head into words. It was just after he started elementary school. I was surprised at how old this story seemed to be, but at the same time, I was happy. It meant I've been together with Matsuda-kun ever since I was little, and he remembered such an ancient story about me. But I don't remember it, of course. There's nothing I can do about it. He was skillful in the sand pit and started building a surprisingly large and intricate sand sculpture at the public park. It was modeled after the Sagrada Familia Church. That's really amazing, isn't it? I mean, a tiny elementary school student deciding she wants to build the Sagrada Familia. And on top of that, you even knew how to use some advanced technique involving hardening the sand with water. It took you an entire month to build. An entire month? The real Sagrada Familia has been under construction for over 120 years and still isn't complete. It isn't too surprising it would take that long to build a perfect replica out of sand. But still, an entire month. I wonder what I wanted to prove back then. It was truly an amazing sand sculpture. No one could believe it was done by an elementary school student. As you were getting close to completion, many people from around the neighborhood came over just to watch you work. It was a huge success, but you never did get to complete it. Why? You said I was really close to... Matsuda-kun answered my question in a somewhat depressed tone. Someone destroyed it, just when it was about to be completed. Destroyed it? An image suddenly appeared in the back of my mind. An image of a pitiful wreck of a sand sculpture that had been trampled on. What the heck? You have to be a truly heartless person to destroy the work of an elementary school girl. I was still tied to the bed, but my voice had fire raging in it. At the time, you said the same thing and started crying hysterically. Cried continuously for almost an entire day. Well, that's to be expected. I felt intense sympathy for my elementary school self. As you expect, I felt angry about what happened and decided to go search for the culprit myself. But no matter how much I searched, I couldn't find a trace of him. There weren't even supposed to be anyone in the park when the Sagrada Familia got destroyed, except for you. I couldn't find any other witnesses, and my investigation reached a dead end. I think I got really depressed at that point. I remember sitting on a bench at the park staring at the remains of the Sagrada Familia when you suddenly came up running to me. Surprisingly, you had a huge smile on your face like I've never seen before. I got it! I must have found the culprit myself! No, that wasn't it. He sounded as if it was much better that would have been the case. You came and whispered it in my ear. You told me to keep it a secret, but that it was you who destroyed the Sagrada Familia. Huh? I was struck by complete surprise. So I spent a full month working on a sand sculpture, and when it was nearing completion, I destroyed it myself? An irritating story, isn't it? Irritating or not, why would I ever do such a thing in the first place? I asked you that. You said it was an accident. I mean, in that case, you should have said so from the beginning. Thanks to you, I wasted a lot of time searching for a culprit. To think I wasted an entire month of work with an accident. How much of an idiot was I? I can't sympathize at all. When all is said and done, you just used me as your plaything. So do you get it now? Do you get how much of a bother you are? Yep, I guess I'm at a level where it's best to tie me up after all. We've reached a rare agreement then. Just like that, I approved myself being tied up, but I still had one regret. It was an intense regret I'm not even sure a word like regret describes very well. What is it? Does your stomach hurt? No, that's not it. It's just vexing. I finally got to hear Matsuda-kun speaking about his memories of me, but since I don't have my notebook, I'm going to forget it all soon. If you want your notebook, I put it right next to the pillow. Really? My heart leapt at this unexpected lifeboat for love. Which side? Left or right? Or maybe neither of them? Calm down, dimwit. Be to your right. If this is my right, I should concentrate on my right side. I strained the eyeball muscles and turned towards the pillow. As expected, there was something there that looked like a notebook. There it is! I stretched my neck like a turtle and got the tip of the notebook between my lips. Then I abused my tongue muscles and somehow succeeded in getting the notebook open. Opening is one thing, but how am I supposed to write anything? As I contemplated that fundamental problem, a certain sentence entered my field of vision by chance. It seems Junko Enoshima killed him. The letters looked like twisted hieroglyphs that were written by a very shaky hand. I didn't understand what they meant. Junko Enoshima killed him? Is this about a movie or something? I heard a loud bang from under the bed and felt it shake from the power of the impact. Oi, what did you say? Matsuda-kun's voice was suddenly very stiff. What was it you just said just now? I was disturbed by the intensity of his voice and used my eyeball muscle once again to look at the notebook when another shocking sentence appeared in front of me. I discovered a dead body at the Central Plaza. A dead body? It took me around 3 seconds to understand what I read. Then I started screaming, a dead body! The rope dug forcibly into my body as I tried to jump out of the bed. Ow! Ow! I screamed a different type of scream. Nevertheless, Matsuda-kun didn't seem to care about my predicament. He just asked the question in his stiff voice. You said Junko Enoshima, didn't you? But I didn't care about some girl's name anymore. A dead body! It said here I found a dead body! What am I gonna do? What do you do when you find a body? More importantly, answer my question. Do you know who Junko Enoshima is? More importantly? Upon hearing those words, a bad feeling spread through my body. I mean, what could be more important than discovering a body? That's just not natural. Hey, Matsuda-kun, I boldly decided to ask him directly. You seem to be worried about that Junko Enoshima person. Is she a friend of yours or something? I could hear a short gulping sound from under the bed. Hey, Matsuda-kun? There is no dead body. Huh? If you really had found one, the school would have been in an uproar by now. There is no way you did. That's not it. About that girl, what was her name again? I looked for a notebook and discovered that it had slipped the area of my chest where I was screaming and struggling. No matter how much I stretched my neck and tongue, I couldn't get to it anymore. That's enough. I was mistaken. That girl has nothing to do with either me or you. Forget about it. For some reason, I got the impression his words were choked with irritation. But I can't forget it that easily. I mean, it was written right there in my notebook, so it must be something that happened to me. That's not necessarily true. Huh? Finding a body, meeting a strange girl, the most likely stories you made up. You're simply mistaking them for true memories right now. I never write made-up stories in my notebook. I mean, if I did, that'd get mixed up with my memories, which would be a terrible thing. Maybe that's exactly why you did it. Huh? I'm thinking you may have mixed fake stories with your memories on purpose. My heart became hazy as I listened to his blunt words. Why would I do such a thing? You're always saying how nothing has anything to do with you. Nevertheless, you must feel lonely sometimes, don't you? You can't retain any memories, so you can't form connections with anyone around you. I'm sure that can get very lonely. Huh? I felt my breathing becoming rough. That's right, you got lonely. That's why you fabricated all of those delusional stories. I've never been lonely! I screamed, not being able to take it anymore. Oh, and you remember that? Matsuda's sullen voice yelled from under the bed. That's not it at all! I screamed even louder. Matsuda-kun's words were so off the mark. They misunderstood who I was. I couldn't do anything but scream. I'm sure I've told you a million times. I'm sure you got tired of me hearing blabbering about it. As long as I have Matsuda-kun, I'm fine. As long as I have Matsuda-kun, I never get lonely. I'm sure I told you that many, many times. I screamed so hard that my breathing got out of order. I screamed so hard that my voice buzzed inside my own ears. It might have been cowardly to shelve my own forgetfulness, but I wanted Matsuda-kun to remember, no matter the cost. I couldn't give up. If I can remember that, despite my forgetfulness, how can you forget it, Matsuda-kun? After the echoes of my scream were gone, there was silence. An awkward silence. Finally, Matsuda-kun broke the silence with a whisper. Anyway, what's written there is a lie. He probably wanted to put an end to the conversation once and for all, but I couldn't accept it that easily. But if this notebook is a lie, if I can't trust my own notebook anymore, what is there left to believe in? Believe in me. Huh? Oh, and next track? Had these been normal circumstances, my heart would probably leap at those words. But that was impossible right now. There was a conflict inside my heart that overcame any heart throbbing. There were only two certain things in my life clashed heavily, and I was swaying violently from the shock, as if I was a small boat caught in a storm. Ryoko Watanashi's memory notebook was the one and only trusted route to my memories. Matsuda-kun was my one and only existence connecting me to the rest of the world. In other words, I had the ultimate choice in front of me. Should I believe in myself, or should I believe in Matsuda-kun? I finally reached a conclusion. In that case, always be by my side, Matsuda-kun. If you do, I can give away my memories. Matsuda-kun stayed quiet for a while under the bed. I waited motionless. I waited until he gave me an answer. Then he finally did. Right now, that's impossible. And it was the exact opposite of what I hoped for. I was dumbfounded and could only return an absent-minded question of my own. If not now, then when would it be possible? I don't know. You don't know? Anyway, it's impossible right now. I can't be with you. There are other things I must do. Things he must do. I guess that must be. I see. The most important thing is your research, which means no matter how much I choose you, you will not choose me back. All I could do now was grudgingly whisper those words of resentment. No, that's not it. It seems Matsuda-kun was about to say something, but he held his tongue at the last minute. He sank into silence and said nothing more. It doesn't matter how much I wait, he's never going to say the words I yearn for. In that case, at least kill me. My head felt hot, and my view of the ceiling got blurry. My face was probably covered in tears. Snot was probably gushing out of my nose, but I couldn't stop the stream of emotions flooding from me anymore. And if you can't cure me, at least make me forget about you too! My screams were now mixed with sobbing as I let everything out at once. It hurts too much that you're the only thing I can remember. I'd rather not remember anything at all. The rope dug deep into my body as I raged and loudly scraped my skin. Nevertheless, I couldn't even feel the pain and continued to scream. I've had it! Make me forget! Make me forget about you, Matsuda-kun! There was a rustling voice from under the bed. Then Matsuda-kun rose up and stood by it. He was quiet and looked down at me, sobbing violently. Then he quietly took a tissue out of my pocket and started wiping my face. I gazed at him. Arm and eyes carved in the middle of a pale, unhealthy-looking face. Thin black hair hanging down from the corners of the eye, near the corners of the eyes. Long feminine eyelashes, a pointed chin, thin small lips, long white fingers. That was Matsuda-kun. But his face looked lonely. He looked at me with lonely eyes and gently wiped the tears and snot off my face. For some reason, I felt fear washing over my body. Fear stronger than any regret at the words I just said. Matsuda-kun. Then, just as I was about to open my mouth again, Matsuda-kun's hand stopped moving. He quietly turned aside and started walking towards his desk. Soon, he disappeared from my field of vision. Matsuda-kun. I finally managed to speak again, but I have an appointment I have to go to. I could hear his voice from somewhere outside my field of vision. I've been entrusted with the treatment of a certain student. I can't postpone it. You're going? I'll be back soon. We'll continue the discussion then. Soon I could hear his footsteps walking away and the lonely sound of the door closing. He went away. Every bit of my energy faded out with a single ashen sigh. Then I suddenly remembered the heavy pressure on my chest. He could have at least loosened the rope. My body was engulfed with fatigue, but the pain I felt wasn't the rope's fault. Its source was clear. When I opened my eyes, trying to escape the anguish, I wanted to fall asleep. I wanted to forget everything. With that thought in mind, I slowly started dissolving my own consciousness away. Slowly. Suddenly, I felt the floaty feeling of my body being released. Huh? I gathered up my dissolved consciousness, and when I opened my eyes, I discovered the rope that bound me was now untied. Matsuda-kun? I rose up from the bed and looked around the laboratory, but there was no one there. So how did the rope become untied? I wondered if it could have been a time-based mechanism, or if I could secretly be a talented escape artist. As I contemplated the possibilities, I took a good look around the laboratory and noticed a hot water dispenser on one of the tables. I guess I should make myself some tea to calm me down. Soon after the idea came to my mind, I poured some boiling tea into a small teapot. The fragment of tea leaves tickled my nose. I poured myself a cup of tea and slowly sipped a mouthful. The hot, strong liquid washed down my gullet to my stomach, and I finally calmed down. I see you finally calmed down. Huh? A small boy I didn't recognize appeared out of nowhere and was standing right in front of me. Yeah! I dropped my teacup in surprise and it hit me directly on the foot. Yeah! I writhed from the sudden agony. You sure are a scatterbrain, sister. Who are you? I managed to ask the innocent-looking, laughing boy through the pain. You've forgotten already. Didn't we just meet last night? We met last night? I dragged along my foot, which was already numb with pain, and stepped onto the bed where Ryoko Otonashi's memory notebook was still lying. I picked it up and leafed through the pages. Ah, I see, I suddenly remembered. Could you be the boy I left a message to Matsuda-kun with at the dorms? Bingo! Yup, perfectly correct. I am Yuto Kamishiro, a student at Hope Speak Academy's 77th class. When did you come in here? I asked. I didn't notice him entering at all. Well, it's natural you didn't notice. Kamishiro-kun suppressed a giggle and sat down on top of the desk. But that's the wrong question to ask. What do you mean? Kamishiro-kun's mouth twisted in a broad grin. I didn't come in. I've been here all along. All along? Well, ever since Yasuke Matsuda tied you to the bed with that rope, at least. I heard every bit of that lover's quarrel you had after that. It's Yuto. He was very, very briefly in there, like, he just, like, introduced himself. He's kind of like a proto-Teru in terms of personality and design. No, that's Izuru Kamakura. Yuto is a character only in this novel. He doesn't show up again. Speaking of, that sure was one impressive knot he tied. I'll have to ask him to teach it to me when I'm at the time. In other words, I try using every bit of my brain to make sense of the situation. You've been hiding somewhere in the lab since the beginning and peeped on what Matsuda-kun and I were doing? How rude! I may be a pervert, but I'm not the pervert who hides and peeks. Kamishiro-kun puffs his cheeks. I wasn't sure why he was upset. But if you weren't hiding, we surely would have noticed you. I mean, not me, Matsuda-kun would have. You still don't get it, do you? Very well, let me explain it directly. Kamishiro-kun suddenly thrust out his chest. You didn't notice me because of my talent, he declared cheerfully. I am a super high school level secret agent, after all. He puffed up his chest even more, and soon looked at it as if he was bending over backwards. Super high school level secret agent? You know, like in 007 and Mission Impossible. You must have seen one of those movies at some point. I'm just like that. A spy, if you will. A spy? Unfortunately, I had no memory of seeing either of the movies he mentioned, and couldn't quite grasp what he meant. Okay, this is cool. So, this line here of the, like, you know, a spy, if you will, that's a line that's in the Danganronpa. In Danganronpa 2, there's some white noise, and in the last trial, and the white noise is just quotes from Danganronpa 0. I recognize that one. That's one of the quotes that they use of it. As long as I can remember, people have been telling me how short and plain and insignificant I look. While speaking, he took out a large melon bread from somewhere. Honestly, it's a mystery where he could hide such a thing inside his outfit, and continued, chewing loudly. When I was a child, I hated my lack of presence. But then I had a realization. This is not a disadvantage. Quite the opposite. It's an incredible talent. I mean, if you have no presence, no one's going to notice you. I could flourish as a spy or a ninja. Yep, it wasn't a fault at all. It was a talent bestowed upon me from heaven. If I could use it, I could become a super spy that saves the world. The kind that gets a license to kill. The second he finished talking, Kamishiro-kun stuffed the rest of the melon bread he still held into his hand and into his mouth. In other words, you weren't hiding at all, we simply couldn't notice you? Kamishiro-kun gulped down the bread in his mouth. Yes, exactly, he said, smiling wildly. At first I came here in order to fulfill the promise I made to you yesterday. You know, the message I was supposed to pass. But when I got here and saw you and Matsuda-kun already found each other, so I thought the message wasn't necessary anymore. But it was a waste to just go back home, so I thought I'd go and show off my talent. Show off your power, I frowned. But why? So I could help you with that incident you've gotten yourself involved with, of course. Kamishiro-kun looked at me with passion-filled eyes that didn't match his boyish face at all. Now that you've seen me do it, you get it, right? I can easily gather any kind of information you require. I can solve any problem. The more dangerous the incident is, the more excited I get. That's just the type of man I am. Even if this turns out to be about a terrorist plan to steer a nuclear warhead, my body just gets shivers imagining that. Kamishiro's body did indeed shiver in excitement in his own words. His entire body oozed some strange kind of innocent madness. You're a strange one, aren't you? Fair enough. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be at this school. He was right, of course. This is Hope's Peak Academy we're talking about. I'm probably just as strange. Oh, there we go. Well, I don't know if Robin can see, but there's a picture of Yuto. So what are you gonna do, sister? I think your best course of action right now is to gain another ally, and not just a regular ally. I'm a specialist, a pro at intelligence gathering. Kamishiro-kun pulled out another piece of pastry. Does this outfit really have the space to store that many? But his hand suddenly stopped before it entered his mouth. What the? This is butter peanut bread. What a disappointment. His shoulders dropped, dejected. Is butter peanut bread really a disappointment? It sounds delicious to me. What are you saying, sister? Peanuts and bread are the worst parts of the combination. It's like trying to eat miso and rice together. I think that comparison made it even harder for me to understand, but I just said, yeah, of course. I didn't think it was worth the bother of fighting over, so I decided to let it slide. Ah, so you do understand. Here, you can have it. Having cheered up, Kamishiro-kun handed me the sticky butter peanut bread, then anxiously thrust his hand into the shirt again and pulled out a new pastry. Yes, a Yamazaki Madeira cake. It seemed he hit the jackpot this time. His cheeks puffed on a wide... This is written from Japanese food. Of course it is. I mean, it's being written by a Japanese guy set in a Japanese high school. Like, what do you think? What did you say? Kamishiro-kun swallowed the bread in his mouth. So, what are you gonna do? He said, his eyes turning scarily serious as he gave me a questioning look. That is, I think your only option is to let me help you. As far as I can tell, you're the type of person who can't do anything properly by herself, and all you've achieved so far is just wandering around in confusion. When you have plumbing problems, you call a professional plumber, and when you've gotten involved in the kind of trouble you're in right now, you need a professional like me. I am exactly the kind of person who can clear up this kind of incident. Right now, we fit together like male and female genitalia. You're a confused person in trouble, and I'm a person who can solve such problems. It's easy to tell what the next step should be, isn't it? It's even more obvious than ejaculation. Oh, wait a second! I stopped his speech, confused. What's wrong? Didn't you break character a bit just now? Not really, he answered nonchalantly. I guess I was just imagining it then. I thought I heard him preface his speech with some inappropriate phrases. I think the music might be a bit too loud. Oh, damn, okay. Sure, I'll turn it down a bit more. Yeah, that's it, I think. Hang on. Yeah, it's that one. I must not have been paying attention. I just heard him wrong. That must have been it. So, have you decided what you're going to do yet? If you're just going to continue wandering around in confusion, your troubles are never going to get solved. I think your best course of action right now is to make the right decision and let me handle things. My troubles? At this point, I had to read my notebook again in order to put my thoughts in order. I had already forgotten what the exact nature of the troubles I was involved with was, but the moment I read the explanation, my heart started palpitating at an unusually violent pace. I closed the notebook in panic. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! It was unreasonable beyond unreason. It seems I've gotten involved in an abnormal situation to top all abnormal situations. I'm pretty sure I won't find a way to handle such a situation inside Ryoko Otonashi's memory notebook, no matter how much I search. I don't have enough data, and I definitely don't have enough experience. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! I raised my eyes in haste, and they met the eyes of the boy in front of me, who was still chewing some kind of trace pastry. It seems you made your decision. Well then, I guess I'll have you tell me exactly how you got yourself involved in this incident now. It seems he could read something in my eyes and was already ready to take over. He's right though, there's probably nothing else I can do. If I can't take care of this myself, I have no choice but to rely on other people. Even I can understand such reasoning. Other people. Other people who are not Matsuda-kun. It seems the time has finally come to put myself in the care of people who had nothing to do with me until now. What are you waiting for? Come on, let me hear all about it. Come on. Okay. Urged by Kamishiro-kun, who acted like a dog craving pet food, I opened my notebook again. But before I could explain about the trouble I was in, I had to explain to him about my forgetfulness. I can't say I'm jealous, but that is one interesting trait you have there. His face looked like he had just seen an unusual souvenir from some foreign country. I continued my story. I told him about the past memories that were stolen from me, about how I was invited to the Central Plaza and found a dead body there, about my meeting with Junko Enoshima. The events I was reading in my notebook were enough to make my voice tremble, but Kamishiro-kun just listened attentively, narrowing his eyes. Then, as I completed the first part of the story and came to a pause, he finally spoke. I never imagined I'd hear Junko Enoshima's name here. Huh? I have a feeling I recently got the same kind of response from someone else. Oh, are you surprised I reacted to Junko Enoshima's name more than I did to the dead body? It was just the same as with Matsuda-kun before. I guess you're right, sister. You really are forgetful. That's amazing. It's really not something you should admire, you know. Kamishiro-kun pulled himself together in agreement. Well, I think I get the general idea about your situation. I'm a super spy, so I don't get too shocked by dead bodies, but this really is quite an incident you've gotten yourself involved with. And if that Junko Enoshima girl is connected to it, then it's probably an especially atrocious incident. Yep, you were right when you decided to let me handle it. Do you perhaps know this Junko Enoshima? I asked. He sure talked it as if he did. Not directly, no, but I feel like she and I just share a destiny. A stiff destiny. Excuse me? You sure had an experience straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster, haven't you? No need to worry though. Whoever the lead character was previously, I'm taking over that role now. This is going to be a thrilling spy suspense story from now on. Thrilling? That's an odd phrase to use for your own life. You shouldn't think too hard about that. Kamishiro-kun thrust his hand into his clothes again and pulled out yet another pastry. Yay, a choco swirl! He cheered, then continued the explanation. I am currently investigating a different incident, you see, and that's where I heard the name Junko Enoshima. At the time, I didn't think she was such an important key figure. But if she's also involved in your incident, then I guess that changes the story. I mean, it would be too much of a coincidence for the same girl to be involved in two different incidents. Kamishiro-kun's eyes glittered. He was right when he said the more dangerous the incident, the more excited he gets. By the way, aren't you curious what that other incident might be? Aren't you? Yeah, I guess. I reluctantly nodded in agreement, since he was pressing the question hard. Should I even tell you? It might be bad if word of this leaks out. His attitude reeked of assumed importance, despite the fact it was him who brought up the subject in the first place. Oh, who cares? He dismissed his worries lightly, as I expected him to. This is a very tiresome person indeed. Actually, I'm not sure if we can even call it a different incident. What do you mean? I think the two incidents might be connected. That's what I mean. Connected? The two incidents? By the way, I suggest you keep your mouth shut regarding that other incident. It is quite a dangerous incident, and there's even a chance the worst might happen. Done with his preface, Kamishiro started pacing around the room, as if he was a detective announcing the result of his investigation. That other incident I'm talking about is the incident that was given the code name, the worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history. Suddenly, my heart started beating as if small bombs were going off inside it. Huh? What's going wrong? The worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history. It was an absurd title straight out of fiction, and yet something inside me reacted to its mention. I felt as if a heavy load was suddenly pressing down on both my shoulders. My hand, which was flipping through the notebook as I read over, came to a sudden stop. Hey sister, what's wrong? When I came back to myself, I found Kamishiro-kun staring intently in my face. You seem to be in pain. Do you need Yomei Shutsu or Kyushin or something? No, I'm fine. It's nothing. I took up a couple of deep breaths and somehow managed to calm myself. In that case, aren't you curious to hear what kind of incident the worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history was? You must be right. You must. I guess. He was pressing hard again, so I had to reluctantly agree for the second time. Well, you see, Kamishiro couldn't close his eyes and raise both his hands. I don't really know the exact details myself. You don't know? I complained. He was the one who raised the subject in the first place. Well, I know what the rumors are. Rumors? To tell you the truth, I've only ever heard rumors about the incident in question, and I'm still investigating whether it really happened or not. Right now, it's at the same level as the school's 7 supernatural mysteries, except that someone actually decided to name it the worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history. I see. So apparently this whole 7 mysteries thing is just like a Japanese school thing or something. Like, I've noticed it popping up around a lot of stuff I've been looking into recently, so it's just a rumor. It was silly for me to be so nervous, but just as I was about to loosen my stressed shoulders, hey, you shouldn't relax just yet. I felt as if Kamishiro-kun's narrow eyes looked at me from up above. Even if it is just a rumor, there's a good chance it might be true. And if it's true, it was one truly terrible incident. This is one bad rumor we're talking about. You really shouldn't relax just yet. I didn't want to listen to him anymore. That was my honest, true feeling. Nevertheless, it seemed like I was out of luck. But if you still want to hear all about it, I guess I have no choice. Here, listen. He was already in full swing, engrossed in his own words. You see, here's what the worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history is all about. Kamishiro-kun coughed a small cough. Then stated theatrically, 15 Hope's Peak students suddenly disappeared, and 13 of them were later found dead. That's the worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history. I was taken aback. It was too strange, too bizarre. It didn't even seem a little real. That's just a rumor, isn't it? I asked, seeking confirmation. Kamishiro-kun shook his head. Had I been sure it was just a rumor, I wouldn't be investigating it right now. But it seems there really are some students who disappeared, he whispered as if telling a student a secret. About a month before the rumor started spreading, 14 members of Hope's Peak Academy Student Council were suddenly called to an overseas facility and are now apparently studying abroad. Don't you think that's a little suspicious? That's just a coincidence. The rumor said 15 went missing, didn't it? That number doesn't fit at all. I guess it's just a rumor after. Those are just details. Kamishiro-kun flooded his hands. I mean, it's just a rumor right now. First he said it's a rumor, then he scared me by saying it's real, now he's going back. Is he doing this on purpose? Well, whatever. How about we return to your problem, sister? Huh? My problem? Have you forgotten already? You were worried about how Junko Enoshima is related to the incident. I looked down into my notebook. Oh, that's right, I remember. This strange rumor about dead students has nothing to do with me. What I should be worried about is this insane girl called Junko Enoshima I encountered. So, aren't you curious? Aren't you curious about how Junko Enoshima is related to the worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history? That reason she's after you might be hidden after all. You're curious, aren't you? Yeah, please tell me. I pressing Kamishiro-kun. Well, you see. Kamishiro-kun smiled a wild smile. I don't really know. Uh-huh? A sudden dizziness grabbed me. You don't know? What the? I trembled in fear, but Kamishiro-kun was indifferent. He started pacing around the room again. But about a month before the rumors of the incident started spreading, Hope's Peak Academy's executive office conducted an investigation regarding her. Don't you find that suspicious? It's very suspicious! I regained my posture and raised my voice in excitement. If they investigated her, there's a good chance she's the culprit. Don't get too excited too fast. We're not even sure if the rumor is true. He's right. As I made my hypothesis, I somehow convinced myself the incident really did happen. But if this rumor is true, and if she is the culprit behind it, don't you think she would have been caught by now if Hope's Peak conducted an investigation? Kamishiro-kun leaned on the desk and continued. Furthermore, it appears that it was Junko Enoshima herself who started the rumor about the worst, largest incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history in the first place. Huh? That makes it unlikely she's the culprit. I mean, a culprit spreading a rumor about their own crime. That would be far too dangerous. But is it really true? Was it really Junko Enoshima who started that rumor? The rumor started a few weeks ago when a cryptic email message was describing the incident was sent to every student in Hope's Peak Preparatory School. And was it Junko Enoshima who sent that email? Kamishiro-kun nodded as if he was swallowing something. There's an underclassman of mine who's exceptionally good with computers, and who I have monitored the school service for me now and then. That's how I found about the email. There wasn't any sender name on it, of course, but I easily figured that out using my super spy abilities. Oh, and just so you won't make any wrong assumptions, I never told that underclassman about the contents of the email or about the sender's identity. It would be very selfish of me to involve unrelated passerbys with dangerous incidents. I wonder if they're... I wonder if they're referring to Chihiro, but they probably aren't, considering that he's mentioning the underclass. Wait, no, wait, no, it is no, wait. He is talking about Chihiro because I think that he said that he was in the 77th class. The Makoto's year group was called 78th class. So I guess. Oh god, I knew that some of these things fit together, but I kind of forgot about that part. So it means at some point, Yuto's, because the part about Junko, or at least allegedly Junko, sending an email about what happened to everybody in the reserve course, that's in Danganronpa 3. They show that part, kind of. So that is definitely a thing that happens. So I guess at some point as well, then Yuta must, I guess, took out all the message of the email, but basically went to Chihiro and said, "Hey Chihiro, can you tell me, Fujisaki-san, can you tell me who sent this email?" And they're like, I think it's traced back to Junko and Enoshima. And I guess Chihiro wasn't suspicious about that? I don't know. I was just about to give a witty reply about how he's involving me with the incident, but as decided at that moment it wasn't the place and time for that. But why would Junko Enoshima do such a thing? Why spread a rumor about such an incident? That I do not know. He proclaimed with ignorant and a bright voice yet again. How about we ask her directly? I had a flash of inspiration. Let's find Junko Enoshima and ask her what's going on. If that was possible, I'd have done it already. Kamishiro-kun shook his head in dismay. I'm not sure why, but I can't manage to find this Junko Enoshima anywhere. She isn't going to any classes, and the teacher seems to allow it. Classmates also have no idea what's going on. I'm telling you, that girl is allowed too much freedom. It's possible she's even been expelled, since even I can't locate her. But I did meet her right here in the school. That's what my notebook says. She probably wanted you involved in this no matter the cost, sister. That's why she appeared before you, stole that notebook of yours, and made that mysterious confession about a murder she'd committed. But I have no clue what her intentions are. Well, it's so far out that all we can currently do is laugh about it. Kamishiro-kun linked his arms behind his head and laughed naturally. Wait, this isn't a time to laugh. This is serious. I chided him in response. It's fine. It's not like we're in any hurry, Kamishiro-kun replied, letting out a yawn. The only reason we don't understand it yet is because my investigation is still going. As soon as I get back on the case, we'll know the rest of the details in no time. But right now, it's meaningless to make any hypotheses and conjectures, by which I mean leave the rest to me. Kamishiro-kun produced yet another pastry from somewhere, as if to signal conversation is done. The legendary 3-flavor Danish. He puffed his cheeks happily. Oh, I almost forgot. He suddenly turned back to me, licking the sugar off his fingers. We haven't yet discussed the matter of remuneration, have we? You want me to pay you? Don't worry, it's not money I want. I'm not asking for anything important, really. Nothing important? So, do you want me to buy you some pastries? Pastries that can satisfy my appetite are extremely important. He shook his head so vigorously I could almost hear the noise it was making. So, what? You see, I want me to let you do... Oh, God. I'm not reading that. Yeah, I'm not reading all that. Nope. 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 Well then, ignoring my reflection, Kamishiro-kun clapped his arms loudly. It seems we're in agreement regarding the remuneration. So it's time for me to begin. He jogged out of the door and waved his hand innocently. See you later, he shouted as if he was a small child going out to play, and then ran out of the lab. You don't want to read it, don't worry. Oh, wait a second, I never agreed to anything. The door slammed, stopping my call before it could reach its destination. I never agreed to anything, I muttered fruitlessly to myself as I sat down on the bed exhausted. But it was only a verbal agreement. I'm just not sure even such a one-sided agreement could even be called an agreement. I mean, no one asked him to come and stick his neck into my troubles. Furthermore, that was obviously entirely one-sided. No feminist group is going to stay quiet if someone gets away with something like this. And that's why it really has nothing to do with me. Yep, I should just ignore it. It's best to just ignore it. I lay down on my bed, muttering in desperation, when suddenly I heard the lab's door opening again. I thought Kamishiro might have heard my mutterings and came back, so I rose up in panic and my heart jumped to the slide of a slender, fair-skinned man at the door. Ah, Matsuda-kun! I jumped like a sprinter straight into his chest. You're late! I've been waiting for so long! The body I was embracing was awfully stiff. Huh? Something wrong? I should ask you the same thing. Don't you want to continue our conversation from before? What conversation? I had no clue what he was talking about. I had already forgotten it, but I didn't care. I don't know what happened before. As long as Matsuda-kun is here, everything is fine. Did we talk about something before? I tilted my head, then buried my face deep inside his chest. Okay, I'm sorry. Huh? I raised my head in surprise. What are you sorry about? Matsuda-kun stared at my face for a short while, then coughed a small cough. No, it's fine if you don't remember. But in any case, I'm sorry. I'm just... Oh, that's a good one. Yep. No, it's fine if you don't remember. But in any case, I'm sorry, he said, bashfully turning his face away. I didn't understand exactly what he was saying. For some reason, my chest tightened with deep emotions replacing the thunderous beating of my heart. I buried my face deep in his chest again. And as I stand there, swallowed inside his chest, I start forgetting. All the dirt and filth that clung to the inside of my body crumbles into nothingness, leaving nothing but a pure, empty feeling. Nothing matters except this very moment right now. I'm a little worried about a sudden apology, but even that is not such a big deal compared to this moment's happiness. Right now, this very moment, that's the only important thing in the world. I don't know about anything but this moment. Nothing exists for me except this moment. This moment won't even turn into a memory, and that's why I have to treasure this moment's happiness. By the way, what happened to the rope? I suddenly heard Matsuda-kun's voice from somewhere above my head. What rope? You don't even remember how you escaped that knot? No, I'm sorry. I really can't leave you for a second, can I? I'm sorry. Matsuda-kun shook his head and sighed, but his face had a happy expression on it. By the way, it's starting to hurt. Oh, come on, just a little longer. I pleaded like a spoiled child. Matsuda-kun gave up with a small sigh and then let his belly relax. As I felt his body growing softer, I was immersed in a feeling of satisfaction and achievement, as if at that moment I could grasp this entire world inside my fist. This is my world. This alone is my world. I closed my eyes, a feeling of euphoria flooding over me. I could hear the beating of his heart inside his chest. That constant beat was the final blessing for me, the girl who had just gotten everything she ever wanted inside her hands. Parade, whispered Matsuda-kun loudly. Huh? Did you say something? I replied, keeping my eyes closed. Somehow, the parade is growing louder outside. I tried listening, but I couldn't hear anything but the beating of his heart. There's no one out here except for me and Matsuda-kun. Nothing other than that has anything to do with me. And right now, there wasn't anything left to say anymore. I spent some time buried in my beloved Matsuda-kun's chest. Then, I reluctantly parted with my beloved Matsuda-kun and returned to my room that didn't even have my beloved Matsuda-kun in it. I thought of my beloved Matsuda-kun as I took off my shoes. I whispered my beloved Matsuda-kun's name as I climbed into bed, and then I drifted into sleep, where dreams of my beloved Matsuda-kun awaited me. That's all there is to it. Nothing else has anything to do with me anymore. Alright! I think that sounds like a good place to end off, honestly, for today. Don't want my voice to completely die, so... thanks for everybody who showed up and everybody who joined for like 2 minutes and left, or everybody like that. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. Something. Maybe streaming, maybe not. Probably not reading again, because I need to take a bit of a break, maybe. You know, reading for out loud, like, that takes a bit of time. It takes a bit out of you, so... yeah. But that's probably it for today, and... hang on, did I do that? Do that. Yeah, cool. Yep, that's, I guess, yeah, I'll, yeah. Yeah, exactly, we're locked down, so there's nothing I can do, so. I'll think of ways to entertain myself, so. Streaming might be one of them, or it could be other things. Who knows? In the meantime, thanks for showing up, and see you soon.